So then we are back with more understandings from the Second Tabernacle Services writings, and these translation came from the original manuscripts of the prophets of Israel from the time of the prophets of old, many centuries ago, when Israel was obedient mostly. So then we begin to understand these prophecies during this time of the end as per instructions, as per the Torah. And in the Torah we find then many of the prophecies related with YershiYahu, YershiYahu. Then we find also Daniel, Ezekiel. And then there is a section of it where then the Messiah himself, he was then explaining the entire oracle and the oracles, and he was then taking the people of his time step by step through each of the laws of the Torah and teaching them the significance of them. So then, these days, as we understand YershiYahu, the 61st chapter, we are during the time of restoration and also the time of reduction from 2031. The reason is it's because he spent a couple days with the Samaritans, indicating 2,000 years of Gentile rulership, and then the exception was then directives from heaven. As it was during the time of Yohanan, the directives were given via the holy cities. In 1009, then, as we understand, then the holy city and the holy tomb was then both of them destroyed, and then we understand became then the time of the seat. So then when you read Revelation, the 20th chapter, then you begin to understand what it meant the first 1,000 and then the other 1,000. And ended with then the covenant of death made in 2001. It lasted 7 years. And then 2008 had the end of the covenant of death, and then at the same time ended then the rulership of Nahashatan of 1,000 years. And he ended his reign mixing then layer of Gentile, what he thought then was heaven, because he had to lie, and then did not work. So in 2001, Nahashatan decided then via then the legal means of Gentile level would then try to bind the layer of 1,000 years given to him beyond the time given, and didn't work. The time had expired then, early 09, the 1,000 years of his rulership, and then we are during the time of restoration, where we are going to find then the cities returning for the services. So then what is going on then in a Gentile level? First, we must admit and understand Israel is absolutely blind for the most part of the holy prophecies of YershiYahu. They are in a flesh and they are on their own in terms of then trying to decipher what Yahweh then is teaching them. They are living during the time of the first tabernacle service mostly, and they are not even doing what Moses told them to do. So then they find themselves not only not understanding the second tabernacle services, they don't understand the time of restoration, and then they are not speaking very much of the holy city. So then Shaliach Shimon in 1 Shimon 4 states then discipline is coming upon the tabernacle of Elohim regarding his people, because they have neglected for many centuries what Yahweh has told them to do. So then what is going on over there in the land of Israel at the moment, as they are at war with the Hamas? It is very easily understandable. The nations, they want to go back to the junkies. And the Palestinians have only this time, and this time only, to get what they want, to make sure then they are properly set on a land. Otherwise, they are going to return to the old junkies. Read the scripture. What do you find when Yahweh was then moving through the land? He was always bringing other nations in order to make Israel submit to his holy prophecies and his holy prophets. Always. You can read the scripture on your own. And this time is absolutely a carbon copy of what was then during the time of the holy prophecies. Absolutely the same situation. The Palestinians only have this time to get their way through, and then, as they understand, a minor truce was then set up, but then no lifting of the blockades. So what is then the benefit? Because they are preparing the people around to do the same thing as the old junkies. Israel went in a state of dormancy for more than 1,000 years. And they want to go back to the old junkies. As you begin to read, then, when the nation left Egypt, during the time of Moshe and Aaron, you find them later complaining because they want to return then to the old ways. All because they were so used to have the onions and cucumbers. And they were in the desert then. And whatsoever is going on in the land of Israel at this moment, they want to go back to their old junkies. They want to be this special nation, and they are not obedient. Yahweh Himself said they are a disobedient people. They are a disobedient nation, and they are not going to change. If the Palestinians, they lay down the arms, then the old junkies are going to be upon them. Because Yahweh has said, these nations, they are a nation of contrary people, and they are rebels. They don't understand the second tabernacle services. So then, as we don't have the holy city to make inquiries of Yahweh yet, then we have only a couple of choices. Either then Israel lifts the blockade and takes care of then the people of the land as per Yahweh's instructions. The Creator's instructions had told them they must take care of the strangers, not mistreat the strangers. And they should take care of them. In other words, lifting out the blockades and then making sure they have their own trade going on. And then obviously they should go forward and then find the holy site of the holy seat in the land of Cush, as per then the prophecy of YershiYahu. But are they going to do it? No, they are lazy. They are lazy people. They want to be special in their own ways, and they want to rule as the old junkies. You can be sure of it. So there is no reason for this truce whatsoever if they are not going to be lifting the blockade. Are they going then to watch then the Palestinians then going through trials and then in pain and then not lifting the blockade? What is the meaning of the truth? What is the truth then? It doesn't make any sense. They are not going to lift the blockade. They do not want to change their ways. They want to go back to the old junkies. Do you think they are going to change in the future? Ha! Absolutely not. There is no reason for this then war to stop, other than if the Palestinians understand that the holy site in the land of Cush must be found, and then Israel goes after and tries to find this holy site and then build the holy city and lifts the blockade, then the truth then is true. If they don't do this, there is no reason for them halting the war. Because the Palestinians, they are going to be in the same situation. Not only this, but then, because they lost the trust in the terms of Israel, that's how they read it, and they are going to make their lives miserable. If they were thinking otherwise in helping them, then they would lift up the blockade. And where is Yahweh for us to make inquiries? Nowhere to be found. Because only the holy site, then when the city is built, then we can make inquiries of Yahweh of what to do. So then, what Shimon said regarding then discipline coming upon the tabernacles of Elohim, so far the only way of having discipline is then by continuing the war. That's how then Yahweh in the past did. If they were not obedient, the war continued. They are not obedient, the war continued. They are not obedient, the war continued until they submit. And they began to understand the prophecies of YershiYahu, and then going after the holy site and build the city as they were told to do. Yahweh told them to do. Now they're going to make frown faces around. They're trying to be big shots. And they are going back to the old junkies. Absolutely nothing is coming out of this truth. Read the scripture. What is the reason then Yahweh then brings nations against Israel? To do His plan first. Shimon is pointing the people back to the instructions as per the instructions, not to what Israel thinks the instructions can be or should be. No takanot masim. But they are inflated and repleted with takanot masim. The scripture states then, Shimon stated, discipline upon the house of Elohim meant second tabernacle services. Where is the holy city? So they do not want to find a holy site, they do not want to build a holy city, but they want to be big shots. No. The time is for the Arabs. How Yahweh is going to do? Let Him do it. But at least we know where we stand at regarding the prophecies of YershiYahu and what Shimon said regarding the cities. Because when you are reading 1 Shimon 4, you are reading regarding the city. The discipline is because of the city. They did not want to build the city. Hebrews 11 speaks of the cities, and then the city to come in the future. The holy site in the land of Cush must have a city. And then the Messiah said, go therefore around the world and form holy cities and teach them what you have learned via the ministrations. So let Yahweh do His work. Let's only observe what's going to come out of this war over there. Because Shimon spoke, and very clear, the discipline is coming upon the house of Elohim, and let's verify how he's going to do it. Please stay tuned.